You young ones have finished Hinduism and walk into the classroom in the pre-corona days. Like always, your quirky old professor has some movie or documentary playing. It happens to be that guy in the lower right corner of this slide. He was engaged in a very slow and wimpy movement. I ask you young ones what he's doing and why your old professor has him on the screen. Sometimes a few students know that those slow, pathetically slow movements happen to be Tai Chi. They then wonder if Tai Chi is Buddhist. I tell them no and yes. I explain that Tai Chi Chuan, or the Supreme Ultimate, is related to an indigenous religion of China called Taoism. I would go on to explain that even Taoism is a tradition that did help the Chinese to eventually accept Buddhism as it arrived from India. But this reminds the old man of a story. Here's the story. Many, many years ago, when I was young, I was peripatetic or itinerant, meaning I used to move around a lot. Also, my legend preceded me. I had game. It didn't matter what the game was. So it was spring, and I moved into a neighborhood, and the residents already knew that I was arriving. I was settling into my new home when a few families came to my door. They welcomed me and proceeded to ask if I would teach their children the rudiments of baseball. Remember that my legend preceded me. Trying to be a good new neighbor, I told the parents that I would carve out some time to teach their kids at a nearby park. The parents were happy and their children cheered. Well, Saturday morning came and I met the kids at the baseball diamond. Guess what we saw? A bunch of old men doing those pathetically slow, wimpy movements. I was pissed, and the kids started to cry. I was a hothead back then and wanted to kick them off the field. But I thought, and I told the kids, to meet me next week. They'll probably be dead by then. So we meet again at the park next week. And guess what? Old men doing those same slow, wimpy, and pathetic movements. I can hold in my anger no longer. I asked the kids to give me one of those bats. I'm going to wail on those old men. But then I look at my arms and my incredible guns. I don't need a bat. With my incredible musculature and guns and my G-force, I can the G-force that I can create, I'm going to take them out. So I run at the old man and ... What happens? This is an example of one of those in-class quizzes for which you are not graded. What happens to the old codgers? Well, sometimes students will say, they kicked your butt. Even though I had the muscles, guns, and G-force, yes, the old men would embarrass me. Tai Chi happens to be a soft martial art. Those old men would be using all of my incredible force against me. Incredibly beautiful to watch from their standpoint, highly embarrassing from mine. If this story actually happened, your old professor had to leave the neighborhood as a pathetic laughingstock. But back to the incredible movements. Those fluid self-defense movements are related to an important concept within Taoism called Wu Wei. Wu Wei means inaction, or what Houston Smith used to call creative quietude. Part of following the Tao or the way is to be more like water, not the rock. Water is supple and flexible, but is also incredibly strong. Another practical reason for me to start with my story is to tell you, young ones, that you can do your things on a religion like Taoism or Confucianism, another indigenous religion of China. You can also do your things on Shinto, a very nature-centered tradition from Japan.